We are coming to you Monday late afternoon. That means we got football to be played tonight. The New England Patriots and the Chicago Bears, and we have picks for you for what could be a pretty messy game. I'm Matias Weilmann from oddschecker. I am joined by Brian Matthews, the net anytime touchdown king. Brian, thanks for hopping on and joining me.
And appreciate you having me on. It's fun.
Hey, look, we've had a lot of games that really haven't been fun to talk about the last couple weeks. Jury is kind of out on if this game is going to be fun, if it's going to be entertaining, what's going to go on. This game has seen quite a bit of movement. You know, players injured, the fact that the Bears have not been good. The Patriots have shown flashes both ways. Mac Jones is going to play. He's expected to start. You know, how have you approached this game? Because we've seen a lot of movement.
Yeah, sure. And I think if you look at the movement, right, you looked at the line movement, and you see that New England's gone, from -6.5 now to -8.5. The over under was at 40.5. Now it sits at 39.5. So really I look at this and what that kind of tells me is, hey, look, we're expecting New England to run the ball, run the ball heavy, be able to run the ball with effectiveness against the Bears, which other teams have. And the Bears have a struggling offense. We've seen, they've had some spurts the last couple of weeks. But let's not be fooled across the way as Matthew Judon and that Bill Belichick defense. New England Patriots defense right now, they're up there with the Buffalo Bills. So the way I look at this, I think New England has the lead. They're able to kind of milk it out, maybe force some turnovers on defense and really run the ball. But that's kind of how I see this game playing.
Now, we know how Bill Belichick against young quarterbacks go usually. So let's start on that side with the Bears offense. Let's give the people what they came for. And those are some of your picks. Of course, you can always go on oddschecker, check out our grid, get the best odds across any bet you might make. FanDuel, PointsBet, DraftKings, doesn't matter. We've got it all. You can make your bet on the odds board right there. But Brian, we're starting with you. You like the rushing attempt number for Justin Fields.
Yeah, so this is something I normally don't get into this market too much, but this is a number that he's hit in all but one game. And as we talked about Matthew Judon and that defense, look, I expect them and I expect him to be under constant barrage of pressure. So, 7.5 rushing attempts, a number again he's hitting all but one games. He should be scrambling for safety tonight. The way that New England's been dialing up pressure. So I look at that. I like the over 7.5 rushing attempts, which kind of leads me into a defensive prop later, but we'll touch on that then.
A little bit of a tease. And, I think the scrambling from Justin Fields is probably fair. I know we saw it the last time we unfortunately saw them on Thursday Night Football, that some of their best offense came when he got out of the pocket and was able to scramble. Yeah. Again, at least from my side, I don't really know how this game goes. It could be like a 6-0 game at the end of it. But, score does not matter at that point. But let's get to some bets that maybe the score does end up mattering. We talked about the spread moving. We talked about the total points moving. Where are you going in terms of that?
Yeah, so if I look at it, I liked the line. I liked each of the lines before the movement, right? So what I did is I said, all right, we'll just kind of make an alt spread alt under, right? And then, so, I like New England to win by a touchdown. So I have, New England -6.5 and then the under of 51.5. So I look at that right there. That seems safe to me. You inflate the under in a game that should be low scoring, good defense. And to me, looking at the game script again, I just don't see a way that the Patriots are going to lose this game, or not win by at least a touchdown.
So no pressure, Patriots, because
no, I
Brian doesn't see a way you lose, right? Yeah, no pressure. No, what could possibly happen there? And then another big question too that we've talked about in terms of injuries on both sides. We talked about Mac Jones a little bit, but in terms of who is going to be handling the bulk of the carries in the Patriots backfield, that is another big point of contention too. So you're rolling with one of those running backs, and it's the one who's been hot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and look, I know Damian Harris is back tonight, right? And I know he was the guy last year, but look what we've seen from Ramondre Stevenson. Pardon me. The last couple of weeks without him, he has looked like a true bell cow. All three downs, catching the ball, running the ball. He's been very good. We know that hamstring injuries can be tricky too, and this is a game where New England isn't expected to need all their dogs. So if they can give him a little extra rest, Damian Harris that is, then go ahead and do it because you've got Ramondre, who's been churning out yards. And let's keep in mind he did clear this number in 2 games with Damian Harris in the lineup, so that still doesn't scare me off.
And Brian, again, this game could really go any number of directions, but I do like
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson there. I'm in a little bit of a pickle myself with him. I'm playing with him in a fantasy league. I'm playing against him in another one. That sounds, more like a personal problem, but I do like that prop. And
Yeah.
again, as always, if you go through PointsBet that you see on our table, you'll see that number is actually 2 yards higher. So why don't you take the better value on the 63.5 that you're rolling with? Now, Brian, you can go either way on this. You can tell me I'm crazy. You can tell me. I got a
All
couple
right.
picks that I want to throw your way, see how you
Yeah,
feel
let's hear
about
it.
these.
Let's hear it.
So I'm starting with Fields over 159.5 passing yards. And that is the most dangerous game to play in the NFL,
Yeah.
it seems like, this season. But in my eyes, this is probably a game where the Bears are going to fall. They're going to fall behind, and they're going to have to throw the ball. Again, not very inspiring, but I feel like that number is too low to take advantage.
It's almost insane that we're talking about taking the under potentially on that number. I mean, that's a low number for an NFL quarterback, right? But I mean, I think you're right. This is a tough defense. I don't know that the Bears are just going to be able to line up and run the ball, at the Patriots and down their throat. I think Justin Fields, they're going to have to dial up some play action rollouts, like you were talking about, get some things to get him outside of the pocket, get him comfortable, throwing on the move, whether it's kind of a dink and dunk approach. But, that's you like Russian roulette if you like that prop. Hey, look, I'm not calling you crazy. I'm just calling you like adventure. So, that's
Just
what
want to be
I'm
bold.
not playing personally tonight. I'm on his rush attempts, but I think if they do have a chance in this game, Justin Fields needs to clear that number.
And you can get that at BetMGM at -20 at time of recording. Again, that nothing has been stable in any of these
Yeah.
props or lines leading up to this game. And I'm going with a couple other ones. Look, we have talked at nauseum about how this game is probably not going to be good. Both these quarterbacks have left a little bit to be desired at times. Apparently, there was a little bit of quarterback controversy in New England the last couple of weeks. Mac Jones is back, but might be a little rusty, and he just put the ball in harm's way. So I'm actually going to take both quarterbacks to throw an interception. You can get that at DraftKings at -175 for Justin Fields to throw one. For Mac Jones to throw one, it's at +105, which is interesting value there. I don't know how you're leaning in that direction.
Actually, no, that's some solid value right there. That's something where I wouldn't mind looking at that. As I've got my eye on another defensive prop. So, but I do like that look.
I'll consider this a win in my book that I
There you
got
go.
Brian to consider something. We've teased it enough. Let's give the people what they want, and that is your fun defensive prop.
Uh,
Tell me what it is.
Yeah, look, so on these games, right, with low scoring totals, when you're looking at it, you've got good defenses. I always like to have fun, go over to the defensive side of the ball. A guy I really like, Matthew Judon. I mean, he's potentially on pace to break Andre Tippett, a Hall of Famer for the Patriots, single season franchise sack record. He became the first Patriots player to have, I think, 6 sacks in the first 5 games. So he's doing some really big things. The only game he didn't have a sack last week. When better to take a guy to get one? So I'm looking at it. There's value too. On FanDuel, this is -142. On DraftKings, it's +105. I don't like taking anything with that much juice where there's a lot of variables in play. But when you look at it, Chicago gives up the fourth most sacks in the NFL. The team that gives up the most gives up 25. They've given up 23. So we're not talking about, a ton of separation between these two teams. I like Judon to get after Fields tonight and bring him down at least once.
And it's something about that Bears offense too is that they're not exactly getting out of harm's way. So I kind
Correct.
of like that prop as well. Brian, you got anything else before we head out for the night?
No, I think that's it. I don't want to overload this game. Like we said, it's potential low scoring. There are a lot of variables. We've got Mac Jones back, but Bailey Zapp has looked good. We've got Damian Harris back. And then let's not forget that on the Chicago side of the ball, they've talked about, all right, we're going to go with the hot hand now at running back. So do we know between Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery, who's getting the lion's share of the work? And if Montgomery struggles out of the gates, do they turn to Herbert? He looks like the more explosive running back. I kind of joke that he's the equivalent of Tony Pollard, where you're like, get this guy more touches.
He's
He
better.
seems to
Yeah.
be the better back. Feed him more. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see all those kind of things.
No, just picture perfect for a gambler, right? You have no idea who's going to play quarterback, who's going to play running back, if anyone's
Oh
going to
yeah,
score more than 6 points. It's just perfect. But we're going to try our best. We're not going to overload it. There are your picks for Monday Night Football. Bears and Patriots going at it. The Patriots are a heavy favorite, but where is the money coming in? I'm Matias Weilmann. You can follow me on Twitter at Matias_Weilmann. He is Brian Matthews, the anytime touchdown king at _B Matt. You can also see him on the huddle every Wednesday. He breaks down all the storylines from the week before, gives his best bets. as well. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram for all our good giveaways. We're giving away $500 this month. There's no reason to miss out on that. So for Brian, I'm Matias. Let's get you in the green tonight.